Right out the gate, a probation violation. Simple on paper, devastating in practice. A single drink can undo months of compliance. This hearing is not just about alcohol. It's about honesty, control, and how one sip can spiral into 5 days behind bars.
All right, in this particular matter, we're here before the court for a violation of probation arraignment. Ma'am, it is alleged that you tested positive through an ETG test on November 16th and admitted to consuming alcohol on that particular occasion in violation of the no alcohol condition of your probation. You're entitled to have a hearing in this matter, at which time, if it is shown that you did in fact violate the terms of your probation, or if you admit to violating the terms of your probation, then you could be subjected to, in this particular. Ms. White.
Satisfied.
All right, as to the recommendation, is there anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor. I've spoken at length with Ms. Elam, and I guess to her credit, she did call her probation officer right away and told her everything that's going on. And she and I had a long conversation last night about her choices. And she does want to address the court about what she did. So if Your Honor will allow her, she does want to do that. She made a mistake, and well, she takes accountability for what she did, so I don't want to call it a mistake.
Right, because there have been multiple.
She did explain that to me too, so I don't want to call it a mistake because she was very upfront with me. The choice she made was wrong, and I'll let her explain why she did it, but it had to do with her.
Notice that phrase, admit with explanation. That's courtroom code for, yes, but legally it's still a violation. Judges hear thousands of these but sounds like an excuse trying to sound like accountability. Here's the kicker. Probation isn't about perfection, it's about proof you're trying. Elam just showed hesitation instead.
Daughter's birthday and why she made that choice she wants to explain to the court herself. I do want to tell the court though that she's here, and unfortunately she just lost the possibility of a job interview, which is another reason why she's crying, because they won't reschedule. So this is really impacting her, and her choice is impacting her because she asked me, she's very upset that she went against your wishes and that she defied you. And she knows that what she did, that's how it appears to this court, and that is what she did. But I'm going to let her speak now.
All right, well, actually, we're going to hear from the prosecutor
yes.
First, and then she
I'm sorry.
Ms. McDuffie?
Your Honor, this case concerns me on a lot of different levels. One, I'll just point out it was originally an OWI second offense, and I really had a lot of reservations, but the offer that I extended was to waive the second offense notice and allow her to plead to a first offense. And one of the reasons was Ms. Elam's, I don't even know if denial is the right word to use, but if the court might recall that some of the comments that she made, I think in her interview, were that, the officer completely falsified everything that happened, made it up. And Ms. Elam just really seemed to be looking for somebody else to blame. She came after me, and I don't have a problem with that. She felt like I was laughing at her, which I wasn't, but I don't mind apologizing to anything I may have made her feel. But the bigger issue was that she was just trying to find somebody else. She can say at the very same time, I take full responsibility, while pointing all the other fingers in the other direction. And after...
Prosecution drops truth bomb. This isn't Elam's first violation, it's a pattern. Key revelations: 1. Her original charge was a second OWI, pleaded down. 2. She previously accused the arresting officer of fabricating everything. 3. She blamed the prosecutor personally. This destroys credibility. The prosecutor nails the core issue. Elam says, I take responsibility, while pointing fingers everywhere else. Legally, this duality is a major red flag for judges. She suspects Elam timed her drinking around ETG tests, a common tactic. Would you trust someone who denies their own arrest report?
That to see the nature, she just hasn't really been in touch with what her drinking behavior actually is and what her actual role is. And she has test results that I know she can't deny. I understand she's going through a lot in her life, so I'm not trying to make it sound like any of this is easy. But I wish, that she had been in a I don't know if recovery court would have helped or not. But Ms. Elam seems to need a lot of support, a lot of oversight, and I was going to make a request if the court wasn't already going to do this. She needs to obviously seek treatment anyway. ETGs, I think at this point, are probably not going to cut it, and I don't know if a sober link or a scrime is something that would be easier to handle. But the admission or the reference in that report, we've seen that before with other cases where people time it. They know that they have to go test, and then they feel like they're free to drink afterwards for the next day or two and clear it out before they have to go test again. And that's something that's happened very blatantly here on I think the third or so violation. So I do want to ask if we can step up our testing to a more frequent method, but I don't know what it will take to get at this sort of block that Ms. Elam seems to have. A lot of people are able.
This is where the prosecution lands the gut punch. Not just a one-time slip, a pattern of denial. Elam once accused the officer of falsifying reports and even blamed the prosecutor. When a defendant keeps saying, "I take responsibility," while pointing fingers, judges translate that to, "I've learned nothing."
To say, I admit my wrongs, I know I'm at fault, I take full responsibility, but absolutely not do that. And I don't know how to address that.
Thank you. I think that, let's see, she's testing now, is it 3 times a month?
That is 3 times.
This would be your opportunity to say what you need to say, Ms. Elam.
If I may, please.
You may.
To Ms. McDuffie, I respect that she's saying that that is not the case, okay? What I spoke was true. I do not know how to clear myself or to know when they're gonna test. Okay, this last test that I did positive, yes, I was wrong. To be a mother of 30 years, okay, it was more personal for myself and my daughter, all right? Because my daughter's not supposed to be here in the physical. Months ago, she almost lost her life at the hands of her assailant, okay? He strangled her, all right? And my daughter told me I had to think about, did I wanna be here or not? I didn't even know you can make that type of decision under such pressure, okay? So my daughter turned 30 on the 15th of November. Like I told her, it was more.
Heartbreaking confession. Elam admits drinking to celebrate her daughter surviving domestic violence. He strangled her. She frames it as a mother's love. I needed to embrace her. But here's the devastating irony. She drank to cope with trauma caused by alcohol-fueled violence. The judge later eviscerates this logic. You think embracing your daughter means you have to drink? Emotional stakes soar. She mentions her daughter almost died, her grief over losing the father. But legally, trauma doesn't nullify probation. Her raw pain clashes with the court's zero-tolerance stance. Does trauma excuse violation?
But personal, because I have her here. I'm here. She lost her father this time last year. She was a daddy's girl, okay? So she asked me would I make her favorite meal. Her father would make her meal for her, which is corned beef, cabbage, and potatoes, okay? So I did that. Me, her sister, and her brothers, we all played video games at my home, all right? She stayed the night, okay? It was a personal moment. And I also took part because of coming out of retirement, technically, to go and get a job, all right? To have such high accolades, only being on my job a month, to step into a leadership role, as you can see, I don't know if you read, from my boss, okay? My daughter also wrote a letter. I am the backbone of my family. Yes, I do still always will take responsibility. This life that I'm living now, it's not for the faint of heart, okay? No, I don't choose to drink. Like I told Ms. Stroud, me and her have had several conversations. She's my go-to now because I didn't think that she was approachable. But seeing how she is, when I did test every time, I picked up the phone and I called her. She didn't have to reach out to me like I told her.
Now here's the emotional twist. Elam's justification hits deep. She drank to celebrate her daughter's survival. It's raw, tragic, and human. But in court, emotion doesn't erase evidence. She's about to reveal a heartbreaking truth and an even bigger contradiction.
I'm an open book. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did, and I explained just that to her. Okay, so no, I don't take this as a joke. I did not know that I was going to have to test the next day. This was a personal, emotional moment for my daughter and I. Again, because to have her in the physical, opposed to celebrating her life in like people do. You lose your child, okay? She's my firstborn. Yes, she's a National Collegiate Honor student, okay? So yes, it was very personal. I ask humbly for forgiveness. Yes, I understand. I'm not oblivious. I understand what the court asked of me. But I'm being honest and open, telling you, I took this personal for my daughter and myself, to embrace her, to hold her because she lost her father. My daughter didn't want to live either, okay? So yes, it's a win-win for my daughter, for myself, on so many levels outside of this court stuff. With all due respect, my children are my world. Had I lost my daughter, it probably would be way worse than this. I would be in jail. And that's being honest. So yes, I did embrace my daughter heavily, with open arms and love. Okay, I did. I'm proud of her. Very proud.
Anything else, ma'am?
No, thank you.
So I am not sure how discouraging what you had to say.
Judge delivers a masterclass in addiction reality. She dismantles Elam's justification. Your love for your daughter isn't in question. Your inability to see what you're doing to yourself is. This is pivotal. Courts view justification of relapse as deeper denial than the relapse itself. The judge connects the dots. Elam's original 0.14 BSE was from one shot of vodka, proof of alcohol dependency. Her verdict? You have a drinking problem you haven't figured out. Chilling question, if celebrating survival requires alcohol, is the addiction calling the shots? This is judicial intervention at its most profound.
Yes. Because the fact that you think that embracing your daughter means that you have to drink is extremely problematic. This means that you cannot understand the level of problem that you have. You can embrace your daughter. I fully feel everything you said about your daughter still being alive, about your having lost her father. I get all of that. That happens in, unfortunately, more lives around the country than we want to acknowledge. But people don't drink because of that or defy a court order because of that. That is the personal choice that you made, because in reality, you have a drinking problem and you haven't figured that out yet. That's the problem we have right now, is that you have a drinking problem and you have figured out every way on earth to justify it to the depths of trying to say it's because of your love for your daughter. And the fact that you didn't think you were going to have to test the next day does not help your case at all.
And here comes the turning point. The judge's insight cuts through like a scalpel. Elam's story isn't about defiance. It's about denial. Addiction doesn't whisper, "I'm fine." Convinces you the drink is love, that relapse is a celebration. This isn't just sentencing. It's psychological surgery in real time.
You can't even hear yourself. And that's the sad part of where we are. And until you recognize inside or outside of this court that you have a problem, this is going to get worse. You're before this court because you were drinking and driving. And at that time, when I took this plea, you told me that you had a shot of vodka to come up with a 0.14. Your denial is so deep that I am extremely worried about you. It's the order of this court that testing in this particular case is increased. She can either do 6 times per month. I'm sorry, not 6, because we're at 3. I'm not gonna double it just yet. She can either do 5 times per month, or she can do the silver link, whichever she chooses. You must get reassessed through the Don Farm program for a possible higher level of care. You to do 5 additional days of community service, and you to continue on your probation. I hope that the next time that I see you, and I'm going to do a review in 60 days, that you have more insight into this problem, and that you don't see this as something just the court is trying to impose upon you, but rather that there's a serious issue going on here. I am very happy that you and Ms. Straub have the relationship that you have, and that you do tell her when you test positive. But I'm certain that if you didn't have to test that next day, you wouldn't have called her up to say, hey, I drank last night.
Judge uncovers the ugly truth. Elam claims she proactively called her PO after drinking. The judge sees through it. You called her because you tested positive. This distinction is legal dynamite. Proactive calls show accountability, reactive calls show damage control. The judge's suspicion deepens. I don't believe it's just these 3 times. She implies Elam drank undetected before. Financial consequence? Increased testing costs, 5x/month or sober link. The core message, trust, is obliterated. Surveillance replaces autonomy. Can someone rebuild trust after using trauma as a shield?
Called her up because you tested positive. That is why we are here. So I am hopeful, and I wonder how and when you have been testing and drinking and getting away with it. I don't believe that it's not. I don't believe it's just these 3 times.
I can be honest and tell you, yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes.
Devastating admission. When the judge asks if she drank more than violations show, Elam whispers yes. This changes everything. Legally, it confirms the judge's suspicion of chronic dishonesty. Emotionally, it's a crack in her defensive armor. The punishment escalates: mandatory substance abuse reassessment, possible inpatient, 5 extra community service days, and probation continuation. The 60-day review date, February 1st, is a lifeline and a warning. The judge's final plea: I hope you take a harder look, you need help. Is this the moment of surrender or just another performative nod?
So I'm going to see you back here on February 1st, 2024, to see how we make it through the holidays. And I hope that when you have this assessment done, that you explain to them, because they sent us a report, that the number of times that you've drank since the court ordered you to not drink, so they can get a clear picture of what's going on here. For whatever reason you say that you did that. Everything we do in life is personal. Every single thing. And people can say it's business, don't take it personal, but the reality is those are personal too. It might be for money, but it's still personal. Your love for your daughter is not in question. Your ability to see what you're doing to yourself is. So I hope that you take a harder look at that and really start to embrace that you need some help. Okay? All right. I'll see you back here on February 1st.
Thank you. Thank you.
Verdict: probation continues, with hard truths. Elam avoids jail but gets stricter oversight, increased testing, rehab reassessment, and a February review. The judge's ruling exposes addiction's core conflict: you can't heal while justifying the wound. Broader implications? Courts are savvier than ever about trauma-based excuses, demanding genuine insight, not just tears. Elam's case shows how addiction weaponizes love into self-destruction. Her freedom now hangs on accepting help, not explaining failure. If this raw look at justice and addiction gripped you, smash like, Debate in the comments, was the judge too harsh? And subscribe for more courtroom dramas where mercy meets uncompromising truth.
And there it is, no jail this time, but no trust either. More testing, more rehab, more eyes watching. Because in probation court, freedom isn't given, it's rented week by week. The real verdict? Accountability is the only currency that buys your way out. So what do you think? Mercy or tough love? Drop your verdict below.